Sinead O'Connor here from Nourish and Recover, and I am joined by Keith Robinson, my colleague. And tonight we are discussing cardiovascular health and the role of nitric oxide in maintaining good cardiovascular health. So, Keith, you're very welcome, and thank you once again for joining me.
You're welcome.
I, I'm going to hand over to you because you're very experienced in doing cardiovascular screening. And so, what we're going to do is go through a few slides and explain to people the workings of the heart, how plaque builds up, etc. So, I'll hand over to you, Keith.
Very good. I suppose the first place to start is what is heart disease and what are the
Hmm.
signs of it? So, really, some of the signs are going to be, say, cold feet, cold hands, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, somebody that's already had a heart attack or stroke. And let's give you a little bit of peek of what's going on the inside. So, this is a slide about showing the cross section of an artery. And
Hmm.
as you can see here in our 20s, we have a clean, elastic, and free flowing arterial system, but we are making a decent amount of nitric oxide in our younger years. And why is that important? It's important because our level of nitric oxide production determines whether we keep our arterial system clean, elastic, and free flowing. But unfortunately, as we age, we make less and less. So by
Hmm.
the time somebody's got to their 40s, they're only making 50% of the nitric oxide they made in their 20s. And when that's nitric oxide is not there, we are not keeping the arterial system clean, elastic, and free flowing. And we are starting to build up plaque in the arteries, which is going to cause an increase in stiffness of the arteries. It's going to cause an increase in cholesterol production because as we get stiffer arteries, we get tiny cracks and tears in the arterial system, and that's going to cause the body to respond by asking the liver to make extra cholesterol to go in and seal the cracks and tears. If we get beyond our 40s, we make less. In our 50s at 35%. When we get to our 60s, we're down to 15% nitric oxide production, and this problem keeps getting worse and worse and worse. Unfortunately, the blood flow going through and past that area gets more and more diminished because the gap for it to go through is getting smaller and smaller. We also have a risk of plaque rupturing with this level of plaque buildup. But as our flow of blood is diminishing, our body actually asks our heart to rise in pressure to try and get the blood flow through.
Yeah.
So raised blood pressure is a sign that some part of the body isn't getting the level of flow it's looking for. So the body is going to try and compensate by asking the heart to increase pressure. And that's
Hmm.
all that's going on. So when somebody's blood pressure starts to go up, you have this problem, a lack of nitric oxide production. You won't
Yeah.
fix the problem by going on blood pressure medication because the blood
Hmm.
pressure medication just instructs the heart not to work on such a high pressure. Um,
Yes.
all this problem stays there and gets worse. So you're
Hmm.
you're still getting closer and closer to a major cardiovascular incident, even though you're on the medications. But everyone's clapping them on the back, themselves on the back, saying we've solved the problem. No, we haven't. We've successfully
Yeah.
hidden the problem. The problem's
Yes.
still there and waiting to explode at another time. So does that give you a good overview of why people are in trouble and what's actually happening?
It does. And actually, Keith, I forgot to say at the start that, of course, there's no medical advice being given here. And our advice is that if anybody does need medical advice, that they go to their healthcare practitioner. But I do just want to add that in relation to the blood pressure, I recall you mentioning to me that a doctor explained to you, do you want to just repeat how the doctor explained to you about what you know high about high blood pressure and going on medication?
Yeah, well, it's exactly as I've just said it there now, and that's where I
Mm-mm.
learned it from. That blood pressure medication doesn't solve the original problem. Cholesterol medication doesn't solve uh, the problem. It hides the symptoms, and
Yes. But
that's where the problem occurs.
yeah, but I just think it's worth saying that, like, the underlying issue that there is some part of the body that is not getting enough blood flow, and that is not being addressed by
No,
going on blood pressure medication. That's, I think, an important point to really bring across, you
and
know?
and do you ever notice when somebody is they're on medication for a certain while and then they're told, oh, you need more, you need a higher dose, you need a
Yes,
higher dose. What's going on there is the blood flow is getting more and more restricted.
yes,
The plaque is building up. The anything that's the far side of that blood supply is getting restricted in flow. So the
yeah,
body's clever enough to keep asking the brain, to keep asking the heart to rise in pressure. So now you have this fight going on between the body trying to get blood flow somewhere and the medication telling the heart not to listen to the body.
yeah, yeah,
That's
which
where
is
maintenance
never a good
is
thing.
created. Huh?
Yeah, that's never a good thing to not listen to the body.
And that again, yeah, you're trying to override nature. Nature
Yes.
trying to protect itself. The body's trying to protect itself. Is trying to. Sometimes when
Mm,
people have stiffness in the arteries, they're going to be asked. The body's going to be asking the liver to make extra cholesterol so as it can go in and seal cracks and tears because of the stiffness in the arteries. But
yes,
but if you have medication telling the liver not to make that level of cholesterol, well, then there's a shortage of it. And,
yes,
and if you have a shortage of it, something's going to suffer.
yes. And also, like, it's really important for people to understand that as you age, the potential for your blood to flow through and get to your whole body is diminished.
Yes.
And, for me, one of the really important, I mean, lots of people will say who have high blood pressure or they, have a heart condition, they're aware of that. But there are so many people out there who are interested in their health and fitness. They are super fit, they're, really careful about their diet. And there's a presumption that your cardiovascular health is really good because of all that. And that is not the case. And we've
Oh,
seen that, in the last couple of months, we've seen very young marathon runners dropping dead.
yeah.
And that is pretty shocking. So is that the message is that um, just because you are so fit and your diet is so good and everything, that you absolutely have to check out your cardiovascular health. And people can do that. For example, what I did, I went for a CAC scan, which is coronary artery calcium scan, and I got that done in the Mater Private in Cork. I don't think there's any reason why I can't say that. But at least people will have a clear picture of what their cardiovascular health is like.
Yep.
And of course, I'm going to hand over to you now, Keith, and let you talk about ProRG9 Plus and the V3 protocol and, what that can do for people.
Do you want me to show the cardiovascular screening of the 85-year-old?
I think that would be very useful.
Because that is going to give an understanding of the repair that can actually happen.
Yes,
Is that showing up now? Okay.
it is. Yeah, yeah,
So this is on the bottom, those figures are when I met him first. And that
yes.
was blood pressure 167/95. But 90 days later, using the V3 protocol, his blood pressure actually came back to 131/77.
Wow.
So that means there was enough blood flow restored to different parts of the body that the body was able to turn off the messaging to work at such a high pressure.
Right. Yeah.
The central aortic pressure, which is a figure that is telling us that what the pressure is as the heart is pumping at the left ventricle. So 162 is a really high pressure. It's actually the pressure of somebody that's 185 years of age.
Mm.
But he took 40 points off
Not
that.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a disaster waiting to happen. And he took
Yes.
40 points off his central aortic pressure within 90 days, back to 122.
Yeah.
That's down to an average 80 to 90-year-old, which is
Hmm.
100 years of a drop on his vascular
Yeah.
pressure. Um, the RAI is the radial augmentation index. It's like the flexibility of the arteries.
Hmm.
That is working at 107, which is comparable to the central aortic pressure in age group. That's the elasticity, but he cleaned his arteries down to 80% stiffness within 3 months. And 80% is better than a 60 to 70-year-old. So that's a
Yeah.
lot of
Wow.
cleaning to go on in the arterial system to be able to bring that figure down that level. So that is what is possible. And I see that time and time again with loads and loads of people.
Yeah. And so will you go through the actual products in the V3 protocol, Keith, please?
Yes, let me find where that is now. It's here. Okay, share screen again. So, where's the PowerPoint? I just click and share entire screen. I'll do it from there. And so this is the
Yeah.
V3 here. Is that showing
Hmm.
up okay?
It is, yeah.
So Paragenine Plus is our flagship product, and it is what's called an arginine complexer. This is the food the body requires to start making a lot more nitric oxide. So where an
Hmm.
average person is making between 1 and 3 seconds worth of nitric oxide, you have every sachet is 5 grams of pure elemental arginine. So it gives the body an opportunity to start upgrading its level of nitric oxide production. And then
Yeah.
people can play around with their dosages as to how many sachets they need
Hmm.
to achieve what they want to achieve. So Arginine Plus is in the physician's desk reference in the US as being the highest quality arginine complexer available in the world. And it is very, very powerful food. That's why it's the flagship. The
Yeah.
purpose of the Mystify and the Phytolife is there to give the body the missing nutrition that's no longer in our food.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
Phytolife is made up of raw berries and fruits, but it's
Hmm.
tested down to parts per trillion to make sure there's no traces of herbicides, insecticides, GMOs, or heavy metals. And apart from the nutritional value, it's a natural anti-inflammatory. It's a natural pain suppressant. It's antiviral. It's antifungal. And every 30 mils of Mystify is equivalent to eating 3.5 kilos of raw fruit antioxidant wise.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful raw food.
Yeah.
The Phytolife is there to give your body the greens that nobody's eating. And
Hmm.
greens are required to detox your organs, cleanse your blood, correct the pH. And
Hmm.
if those jobs are not happening, you're leading yourself into trouble. 9 people out of 10 are acidic, and they shouldn't be
Hmm.
acidic. We should be
Yeah.
slightly alkaline. Your body's going to keep
Yes.
your blood at a pH 7.365. So
Hmm.
it's really, really important to get the greens into your system to do all of those jobs. And
Yeah.
so we would look on the Mystifying the Phytolife as giving your body the food that's no longer in our food, and the
Yeah.
Paragenine make sure that food gets circulated throughout the body at a cellular level to repair while it's actually cleaning the arteries at the same time. So
Yes.
that's the vital three.
Yeah. And actually, to that point, I'm sure viewers are familiar with a guy from the United States called Gary Brecka, but recently he did a free 3-day detox. And I have to say, it was really fantastic. But one of the important points that I brought from it was that you should not do a detox if your elimination pathways are not working. So, for example, and while this is slightly different, it's not, because what you're saying there, just to put it into layman's terms, really, is that proarginine gets the gunge out of the cardiovascular system. And then the other two products basically mop it up and get it out of your body.
Yeah, sometimes you'd have toxins stuck to the wall of the arterial system or traces of medications that were there. And if somebody's just using Paragenine on its own,
Hmm.
you're going to store up all these toxins and you have nothing to mop it up. Whereas the
Yes.
find the Vital Life helps to mop it up as well as giving the body what it needs to repair um,
Yes.
at a cellular level.
Yes. I would describe the Mystifying Vital Life as deep nutrition.
Yes.
In my simplistic way. Um, but the body, like you can see I can certainly see like the difference, in my nails, for instance, really, really
Yeah.
quickly when
Yeah.
I take those products. And
Yeah.
obviously your whole system will be working much better as well. Do
Yeah. And
you
did
want
you want to look at the liquid
the high?
chlorophyll opposed to
Oh,
the
yeah, we'd have a look at that, Keith, as well. Yeah, the comparison,
yeah?
please, of
So a lot
hemoglobin. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people have issues with blood quality, and this is going to give you an understanding of why we should be taking greens.
Hmm.
On the left hand side is the molecular makeup of human of plant chlorophyll. On the
Hmm.
right hand side is the molecular makeup of human hemoglobin. And as you can see, they're
Hmm.
the exact same molecule except for the central ion is magnesium in chlorophyll, but it is iron in hemoglobin.
Yeah.
When chlorophyll goes into the body somehow turns the magnesium ion into an iron ion. So the
Hmm.
higher quality raw greens you get into your system, it is the next best thing to having a blood transfusion. And
Wow.
we've even seen pregnant mums who are who had issues with their iron levels going on to the V3 and their iron
Hmm.
levels coming right. Uh,
Wow.
and Dr. Joe Prendergast often told us that um, he has measured that pregnant mums using the V3 during their pregnancy, their babies developed at 123% of normal.
Wow. Wow.
Well, what's the baby living on? The nutrition
Yeah.
from. So it's
Yes.
it's common
Yeah.
stuff.
Yes. That's amazing. Um, I can see we're at about 17 minutes, so I suppose really that's long enough, Keith, for this.
There's a message there which we could deal with if you saw it in the chat.
All right. Okay. Can
Uh,
you see that?
I
Because
can see it, yeah. So Mary's saying I take Priorgy every day, and it's amazing. But my problem is when I go to GP, my BP is high because I have white coat syndrome. Any tips for same? Okay, I would have your own BP monitor and make sure that your BP is actually fine and that the white coat syndrome
yes.
is all that is the problem. And if you also analyze how many sachets a day you're taking, how much of everything you're
Hmm.
taking, and make sure it's enough. So have your own monitor. Keep an eye on it yourself. If you're at the levels that you were looking for without having anyone looking over your shoulder with a white coat, well
Yes.
then it's probably fine. But
Yes.
if you're still a bit high when you're at home at a time that it should be normal, well then instead of maybe one sachet a day, go to two. Or if you're on two, go to three and try that. And because it might need a higher level of nitric oxide within the body to
Yes.
down another bit because everybody's different. So that's why you have to play with your dosages.
Absolutely. And again, we're back to listen to your body and, pay attention to what's going on in it.
Yeah,
Keith, thanks so much for that. I think it would be great for us to have a chat maybe early next week, where we will discuss the High Desert Heart Institute study.
yeah, great stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.